So hello, people coming in. Hello, hello. Welcome to Monday's show. This is our second official live show on Periscope. That's dedicated to Beautifully Organised and the community there. So welcome. If you're already from the Beautifully Organised community, then hello, hello. It's nice to see you again. If you are brand new and you've just stumbled across this Periscope, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background. My name's Marissa Roberts and I blog at beautifulyorganised.com, and that's a website where I'm pretty much dedicated to helping people live a bit of a simpler, easier, calmer, more organised life. Every Monday at 1 o'clock Sydney time, we get together and I answer a question that somebody has sent in to beautifulyorganised.com. It can be a question about anything organising, anything related to family dynamics, anything related to kids. Basically, what I do in my answer is I'll share with you my version of my solution, what works for me. Now, sometimes it's not going to work for everybody, but my intention, whether what I share is brand new to you or whether it's something you've tried before or you think whether or not you think it will fit with you, my intention is just to give you some ideas to motivate you to look at a different way of doing something in your house so that you can get some good results from it. And today we are going to talk about how to get work done while you've got kids home with you. Thank you for the hearts. I love them, guys. All right, so I'm a little bit nervous. So I have notes. Notes in my diary. I don't like to forget what I'm talking about. And today it's so ironic because I'm all set to do a Periscope with you guys on how to get work done when the kids are home with you. And normally it's just me and the kids home during the day, especially over the school holidays. Normally it's just the three of us at home. So the tips that I'm going to give you today are for that. If you're home with just the kids and you don't have another backup person, these tips are designed, the ones that I'm going to share with you today, are all about how to cope in that way. Ironically enough, today is a bit of a zoo here. We've got visitors, we've got some construction work going out in the backyard. The kids have relatives here to play with. So you may hear them come in, and they might come in and wave hello and say hello. They might be rowdy in the background. Normally I have a couple of things set up so that they're not rowdy in the background. So I'm going to share those things that I normally do with you today. And just be aware that they may come in and say hello, which is fine too. So, working from home, getting things done when the kids are with you. Now, what I'm going to share with you today isn't fancy, it's not flashy, it may not even be an ideal way to do things, but it works really well for me. So I want to share with you step by step what I actually do. And I'm just going to read them off my points in my diary and we're going to go from there. Okay, so how to work from home and get things done when the kids are with you. All right, for me, it's all about knowing what I'm going to be doing, when I'm going to be doing it, and how long I need to do it for. So for me, a typical day of working is working from home, working online. I do some blogging work, I film videos, I do periscopes, but I also do client work. So I have client meetings on Skype, and sometimes I do a lot of email back and forth with clients, but Skype calls I found are the toughest ones to get done when the kids are home. Also, anything to do with filming videos and anything to do with blogging, anything that you really need to focus on, to be honest, is something that you need to be aware of when you've got kids home with you. So I like to set up the day so that I've got all the tools I need ready to go. I know exactly what times I'm going to be available for the kids and the times where I need to be not really interrupted. And I'm really clear about those times with the kids as well. Okay, so let's imagine, typical Monday for me, I have a client call at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then I have the 1 p.m. filming. And if I've got the kids home with me, then I need to cover both of those time frames. So, tools. I use my laptop. I've got a desktop computer at home, a Mac, but I also have a little MacBook, like a little laptop. And when the kids are home with me, I make sure that laptop is fully charged because I need to be able to move throughout the house to the quieter areas of the house. So if they're playing, I don't want to be shushing them all the time, but if I can move my laptop to another area and keep working there, then that's much better. So that's the first thing that I do, is make sure my laptop is totally charged. I also make sure my mobile phone is completely charged so that I can do my Skype call from my phone instead of from my big computer, which gives me the ability to walk through the house as I'm going. So it's not perfect, but it's doable. All right, so mobile phone charged, laptop charged, and I always make sure I've got a headset ready because I don't know about you guys, but my kids, when they hear me talking, that's generally when they decide they need me, because they want to know exactly what I'm doing. And when they hear a second person talking in the background, that's all they want to do is come in and find out what that other person's talking about. So laptop, mobile phone, headset, ready to go. Just a standard iPhone headset like I'm using today. I always have just a small notebook and pen for taking notes so that I can be mobile if I need to and move around the house, just a small notebook. And I always make sure that before I start, on my notebook I've got the main points of the client call written down. Usually it's only 3 or 4 things. I'll do a check-in, you know, what happened since the last time we talked, the 3 main points that we cover in our session that day, and then a wrap-up, what sort of expectations do we need for next time. I find if I don't have those points written down, I get distracted really easily, especially if I get interrupted by any of the kids. Also, it kind of keeps me moving on the call. So if I'm meant to be talking for an hour with a client, I stick to that hour rather than going into an hour and a half, which is better for the client anyway, as well as me. All right, so a couple of other sneaky little tricks. If I'm home alone and I'm Skyping with a client, I'll often do a video call, right? So they can see me face to face. But if I've got kids home with me, the first thing I'm going to do is say to my client, hey, do you want to go audio instead of video? If they're cool with that, that also makes it easier for me. Because if the kids do interrupt halfway through and I'm on audio instead of video, I can do this, you know, that sort of thing. To the kids, that was a scary face. You know, the sort of mouthing the I'll be back in a second, you know, go and get your lunch, it's in the fridge, that sort of thing. I can mouth that and I can use body language all I want because I'm on audio instead of on video. So yeah, if the kids are home, always go audio over video if you're Skyping with clients. Now, how to keep the kids busy. Here's what I do. It's definitely nothing new, but it works really well. I pretend it's a school day, right? So we're coming up to 6 weeks summer holidays now over here in Australia. Kids have been home for a long time. Kids get bored really easily. I think the easiest way to go about that is to make sure they have plenty of healthy snacks so that they don't get that cranky sort of tired feeling, and also some entertainment for them. So let's talk snacks first. I go old school. I get their lunch boxes out from school, and the half hour before I actually start working, I go ahead and I pack their lunch boxes as if they have a day at school. So they've got healthy snacks, they've got their actual sandwich, they've got a bottle of water, and it's all contained in that one little area so that they can grab it when they need it. That's going to stop them coming into me going, I'm hungry, what have you got for me? Can I eat this? Can I eat that? And I'm very clear about saying before I start work, kids, I'm going to do some work now. If you get hungry, your lunchbox is in the fridge. Once that's gone, that's it. So eat it slowly. All right. Now they can choose whatever they want. If I want to throw a treat in there, I do, but I keep it limited to one. If they eat it first, that's their call. It's gone after that. But yeah, basically nice healthy lunch and some snacks, and I make sure it's at a level in the fridge where they can reach it. My kids are 4 and 6. So obviously you're going to be tailoring things differently to kids different ages. So if you do want to talk about toddlers or teens or tweens later on, guys, just send me an email to marissa@beautifulyorganised.com and we can talk about other age groups of kids as well. But around that sort of primary school age is what we're talking about today. All right, so I make sure they've got food, make sure that's in the fridge, and I make sure it's easy for them to access and it's divided up into their lunch boxes so they're not fighting over who gets to eat what. Next thing I do is I go through the house and I look at 3 different areas of the house and I set up a little something to keep them busy. So it's kind of like a surprise entertainment, and it's really, really basic. In one room, one of their bedrooms, I just set up a board game ready to go as if it's about to be played, and I don't tell them it's there. In the other bedroom, I set up like a card game. Usually we do something like memory. We've got these Frozen cards that my 4-year-old loves. It's got pictures of Anna and Elsa and all of that on there. And I set them up like a memory game ready to go. And then in the lounge room, I might put a puzzle and kind of sprinkle that puzzle out on the table and leave that ready to go. And I don't actually tell the kids they're available until I'm about to go to work or do my client call or do my blogging or my videoing. And then about 2 minutes before I go, when I'm saying, okay, kids, I'm going to go do some work, I'll see you soon, that's when I say, if you get bored, your lunch is in the fridge and there's some things set up to play with, okay? And I'll see you when I get back. Nice and easy. But the having it ready to go makes a huge difference. Before I did that, I would just have like suggestions ready for the kids if they came in to interrupt me, and I'd say, oh, you know, you can go and play memory, or you can go and do this. And even though they're older, the biggest objection would be, oh, but I don't want to set it up, which is fine. You know, if I'm not working and I don't have someone on the phone with me, I'm just going to go, guys, go and set up your game. But if I'm talking to somebody on the phone at the same time, I don't really want to be arguing with the kids at the same time as I'm meant to be coaching somebody over the phone. So that's why I'll set it up for them in those instances. I also find it's really handy in getting them to use toys that they've forgotten that they have, so that's pretty good too. Also, colouring in is a good one for that, and pretty much just anything random. Are the kids with me now? It's interesting, they're out playing now. We've just had lunch and they have a relative over, so they're hanging out just in the next room. They know I'm in here, but their tummies are full from lunch, so they're not clingy or needy. They don't really need me right now. And they're playing together really well because their tummies are full. So it's kind of like this magic secret I learned when I became a parent is as long as the kids have full tummies, they generally tend to be happier. I have 2, 4 and 6 years old. So we're at that kind of in the middle stage where things are a lot easier now. When they were toddlers and babies was a lot trickier. Now they're in 4 to 6 age. I am slightly dreading what teenage years would be like though. All right, so the next thing. Okay, so my backup plan. If the games and the snacks don't work, then I make sure I have like a movie ready to go. And I don't really do a lot of TV or movie time during the morning because I want to save that as my backup plan when I'm working and can't be interrupted. That's the moment when I want to be able to say, okay, it's time to watch a movie. Works really well. All right, so 15 minutes before. So imagine I've set all of these things up and I'm coming up to around 15 minutes before I've got a client call or before I've got a video or a Periscope or before I've got to do work. That's when I really get right in there with the kids and I've got some serious time and serious dedication right in their faces, right? So if they're looking for mum at all, they're going to get me in depth right with them for the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour if I can, before I actually go to work, right? So that means I'm either playing with them. To tell you the truth, I'm not really a great kid player. I'll play games, I'll play cards, no problem, but imaginary stuff, not so much. But art, colouring, that sort of thing, we'll do that together just before I go to work. Sometimes I'm getting ready for work and I'm putting makeup on and I'll say to the girls, come on in and put some on too. I know a lot of parents don't love that, but personally it keeps them busy. They're right next to me and I can get ready at the same time, so I'll do it. We did have one bad experience with eyeliner with the 4-year-old. Trust me, I'll be hunting that eyeliner from now on. Anyway, or I'll be doing let them do the imagining. That's a really good idea. I like to sneak away and, or kind of be sneaky and ask them if they want to play hospitals, and then I'm the patient sometimes, so I get a bit of laziness going for with that type. Anyway, okay, so the last thing I'll do is if I'm spending that time with the girls and I can't think of anything else to play, then what I'll do is just incorporate the real life stuff, right? So if we're home all day and I'm not working till 11, sure, I'll get them up and get them ready, but I won't necessarily give them any hairstyles or anything in particular. You know, the getting ready stuff, that takes longer but isn't necessary if you're going to stay home. I'll do that sort of thing, like give them a fancy hairstyle right before I go to work so that they've had time with mum, I've been brushing their hair and doing it, and they've had one-on-one time with me. It's a little bit cheesy, but it works really, really well because they get me so that when I go and work, they're not clingy anymore. They're not looking for me because they've already had the time with me. All right, I had a question coming in. Do I tell clients my kids are home? That's a really, really good question. Okay. No, I don't tell my clients that the kids are home if it's only going to be 10 minutes or less. I don't hide it, but I don't make a big announcement of it. If I'm looking at a half hour or an hour while I'm working with a client, then yeah, I'll start. If I've got any advance notice, I'll say, hey, the kids are home. You may hear them in the background, but we'll go ahead anyway. And if I want to switch from video to audio with a client, that's usually the reason I'll give. Now, I'm pretty lucky in that my clients are busy parents, right? They understand what it's like to have kids home with you. So most of the time, they're fine about it. If you don't want to tell your clients that your kids are home with you, you don't have to, but you do have to know what you're going to do if you do get interrupted. How are you going to react? And that's when you might look at getting some outside help in if you can, or getting someone to babysit, or arranging like a play date or something like that, so that even though you'll still need to keep an ear out for the kids, they'll be busy that whole time. But yeah, generally speaking, if it's 10 minutes or under, I don't make a big announcement about it or an apology or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with having the kids at home with you, especially not when you do, you know, what I do for a living. But if it's anything more than that, I'll just mention it, matter of fact. Kids are home, you might hear them in the background, they might come in and give you a bit of a wave. I find generally clients take their lead from me. If I'm nervous and worried and stressed, then they're going to feel nervous and worried and stressed. If I'm confident and laid back and pretty cruisy about it, because it's no big deal, then they're going to be more confident, more laid back and a bit more cruisy about it. Okay? So that was a really good question. All right, just see if I've got any other points that I want to bring up. no, that's about it. So that's basically how I get work done when the kids are home with me. Oh, wait, one more point that I did want to tell you. Somebody did write in actually and say, okay, what about when you're doing things that need a lot of focus, like sitting down and writing an essay or writing a blog post, and the kids just want to talk to you all the time? Okay, so if any of those things that I've mentioned haven't worked, the other thing that I do is I save a lot of my planning and a lot of my writing. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. It's not very attractive. But what I do is if I've got anything that needs writing or planning or anything like that, it's a bit daggy, I actually get out paper and pencils or paper and texters, and we have a colouring in session or a drawing session, but instead of actually drawing a picture, I will plan out, say, my webinar, or I'll plan out my online course, or I'll write down the main points of my blog post, or the main points of the letter that I need to write to a client. That sort of stuff, I'll do it on paper. I'll use coloured textures if I have to, so that it's like I'm drawing with the kids, and I'll be like, oh, about their pictures, but I'm actually planning out my work for my business at the same time. They don't mind because I'm still drawing flowers over the top of it and everything like that. And then at the end, what I do is I take a photo of that work that I've done on paper with my phone, and I just email it to myself, and then all of that work is still there. Alrighty, so that's it, guys. That's all of my points today. I will see you next time. If you have another question that you want to send in, then feel free to email Marissa at beautifulyorganised.com, and I'm happy to answer it for you on one of our live periscopes. And yeah, if there's anything I haven't answered today about this topic that you want to ask, then you can go ahead and email it in, and I am happy to film another video and make it more relevant to you again. Oh, I just bumped my phone. So yeah, if there's anything else you want to ask, then send it on through, and if not, I will see you next week at 1 p.m. Sydney time, and we will talk more organising stuff. Thanks for coming. I'll see you later. Bye.